Ghoulish. That's the only word that can explain Prince Harry and Meghan Markle sharing a private picture of their so-called private children, Archie and Lily, on their so-called private vigil to lay flowers at Princess Diana's grave for the first time.
Because of people creating hate. It's not just a tabloid, not just some story. That's like what's actually out in the...
Now that's Meghan and Lily, and I've taken the view for a long time that Meghan sees Lily as hers and Archie as Harry's.
I would now use Charles Spencer's words directly to describe the acts of Prince Harry and Meghan Markle. You two are insane and ghoulish. You two have no respect for Princess Diana's resting place. And also all of us who have to put up with your constant briefings about privacy. And then you post the most intimate photos that we have never seen of members of the royal family unless they've been taken by paparazzi. Like, no, we don't want to see Meghan's ass cheeks, okay, while she's watching her children in the water. Please.
You are making me scared.
The moment those images hit Instagram last Thursday, something didn't just feel wrong, it felt engineered. Not accidental, not emotional. Calculated, because this was never just about flowers, or a quiet visit, or even grief. This was about access, about control, about a place that was designed to be unreachable, suddenly becoming the center of a global storm.
It's just terrible. They are so full of nastiness and getting their own feelings back on everybody. They don't care.
And if you follow that one thread, how anyone even got onto that island, you realize this story isn't what it looks like at all. There is a lake in Northamptonshire. In the middle of it, an island. No bridge. That was deliberate. Charles Spencer removed it himself. Not for aesthetics, not for symbolism, for protection. He said it outright, the water was a buffer against the insane and the ghoulish. The mud below it? A second line of defense. That's not poetic language. That's a man who believes people will go to extreme lengths to reach what lies there. And for 29 years, that barrier held. No casual access, no accidental crossings, no mistakes. Then suddenly, 11 photographs appear online. And buried in the middle of them is the image that changes everything. A man, two very small children, photographed from behind, walking down that long avenue of trees. Harry carrying flowers, the little boy carrying flowers. A quiet moment, you're told. But look closer, because this isn't about taste, not about whether it's too much or tacky. That debate is a distraction. The real question is sitting right there, unanswered. Who allowed a camera to cross that water? Because someone did. Someone had access to that island. Someone had permission or bypassed it. Someone carried a device across a route that was specifically designed to prevent exactly that. And Charles Spencer? The man who controls that land? Silence. Not a word on Thursday when the photos dropped. Nothing on Friday. Nothing through the weekend. 6 full days of silence while the world argued about optics. And the only thing on his account? Old black and white photographs. A swing in 1966. A pony named Teddy Tar in 1972. That's not random. That's avoidance. Now hold on to that silence, because the next piece makes it even stranger. Just 1 week before this, a seasoned Fleet Street royal journalist was asked a simple question: what would a photograph of Meghan Markle and those 2 children on British soil be worth? The answer came instantly. 6 figures. No hesitation. That's the market value. And the benchmark? Sarah Ferguson in Saint-Tropez, 1992, $1 million for those images. That's the scale we're talking about. So explain this. A trip happens. A high-stakes visit involving Meghan Markle, Prince Harry, and their children. They enter the UK. They travel across the country. They meet King Charles. They stay 2 nights on a private estate. Then they leave. And during that entire operation, not a single photograph is captured by the British press. Not one long lens shot. Not one blurry frame. Nothing. Total blackout. That doesn't happen by accident. For 15 years, the narrative has been that this family cannot move without being hunted, that privacy is impossible, that the press is relentless. And yet here, suddenly, everything is airtight. Invisible? Controlled, which means something very uncomfortable privacy, was always possible. It just wasn't always useful. And then, after achieving total privacy, the images are released voluntarily, for free. No media deal, no licensing, just posted. That's not generosity. That's strategy. Because when something that valuable is given away, it's not the image that matters. It's the message attached to it. And whatever that message is, it's not about Summer. Now bring Charles Spencer back into focus. This is not a passive figure. This is a man who has controlled that island like a private fortress for nearly 3 decades. When Netflix approached to film at Althorp for The Crown, he refused outright. Publicly, dismissively, that tells you exactly how seriously he takes control of that space. And more than that, he has confirmed there have been 4 separate attempts to reach his sister's body in the past 20 years. 4. That's why the water exists. That's why the bridge is gone. This is security, not sentiment. This is a man who expects intrusion and has spent decades preventing it. So, how does that same man suddenly allow access? Because in the second week of July, he did. He opened the gates, posted them, and according to circulating reports, there was a rule laid down: no cameras. Absolute condition. But here's where it fractures. No cameras doesn't mean no phones. It doesn't account for a device sitting quietly in someone's pocket. And we know a device made it across that water. We're looking at the evidence. So now there are only 2 possibilities. Either Charles Spencer said yes and lost control of what happened next, or he said no and found out about those images at the exact same moment the rest of the world did. And his silence? That silence is doing a lot of work in protecting one of those versions. But then another layer drops. Just weeks before this, Meghan Markle had reportedly positioned herself as the one refusing to release images of the children with King Charles, the one protecting their privacy, drawing the line. And then suddenly this, a full Instagram drop, 11 images, public, uncontrolled, and all of it arrives at the exact moment reports begin surfacing that life inside the marriage is not as stable as it appears. Now look again at the photograph that started all of this. Because there's something missing. Meghan isn't in it. What you see is Harry, a 7-year-old boy, a 5-year-old girl, flowers in their hands, walking a path that Harry himself has written about describing how the bridge was removed specifically to protect that space. He knew the rules. He published them, sold them in 40 languages. And yet here he is, back on that same ground, with a camera present. And by Thursday tea time, the world has seen it. That's not a slip. That's a shift. And it's only the beginning. And if that was the shift, what came next wasn't just escalation, it was exposure. Because once you accept that the image wasn't accidental, the timeline starts to look less like coincidence and more like choreography. Wednesday, the 22nd of July. The Prince and Princess of Wales release a portrait of Prince George for his 13th birthday. Clean, controlled Kensington Palace stairs. A future king framed exactly as the institution wants him seen. Then, just one day later, Thursday, the 23rd of July, those 11 photographs land from Montecito. One day. That's the gap. Not weeks, not months. 24 hours. And suddenly, Archie is visible. Taller, older, positioned in a way that mirrors attention. That's not random timing. That's response. And yet, the distraction comes immediately. People start saying it's about a product launch. Honey, wine, branding, but that doesn't hold. The lavender honey had already gone on sale 3 weeks earlier. Finished, done. So if it's not commercial, then it's personal. And if it's personal, then it's strategic. Because this wasn't selling a product, it was reclaiming narrative space. But here's where it turns. Because the version of events being presented publicly doesn't match what was being briefed privately. The same fortnight shown in those images, sunlit, relaxed, idyllic, was reportedly described as something else entirely. A catastrophe. Security tensions with the British state. Internal fractures. Even suggestions that the family had to separate because traveling together wasn't safe. Prince Harry close to tears on calls. Meghan in visible distress. And then suddenly, that exact same time frame is rebranded into a perfect summer sequence. Poolside, Beagle, seaside restaurant. Red wine laughter. It's not a contradiction, it's a replacement. A deliberate overwrite. And that's what makes it impossible to argue with. Because you can't debate facts with someone who's decided facts aren't relevant. Now, the conversation tries to pivot again, this time toward outrage. The claim that the site is sacred, that Diana would have been appalled, that this crossed a moral line. But that argument collapses under its own history, because Diana herself understood exactly how to use a camera. She worked with Andrew Morton through intermediaries, placing her marriage into print. She sat for the panorama interview inside Kensington Palace, exposing everything. There were orchestrated photographs in the south of France, carefully timed appearances, strategic visibility. She didn't just understand media, she weaponized it. And it worked. It reshaped public perception. It forced responses. It created a narrative that still dominates decades later. So the idea that a photograph itself would have offended her, that doesn't align with reality. Because her entire legacy proves otherwise. Even the resting place itself hasn't been untouched by controversy. In 1998, Charles Spencer opened the estate to paying visitors on her birthday $15.75 per ticket. That decision triggered public backlash, including criticism from Elton John, who called it extremely tacky. So this isn't the first time that space has been connected to public access or commercial context. It's happened before. And then there's the institutional contradiction. September 2022. Buckingham Palace releases a photograph of Queen Elizabeth's ledger stone at Windsor. Officially, directly, which means there is no absolute rule against photographing royal resting places. No universal prohibition. What exists instead is a very specific arrangement around one location Althorp created because of real, documented intrusion attempts. So strip everything back, and one conclusion starts to surface. This wasn't about breaking Diana's rules. This was about using Diana's method. A controlled release. An image that appears candid, but isn't. A moment that says exactly what it needs to say without a single direct statement. Let the public react. Let the headlines form. Let everyone else do the talking. That playbook didn't come from Montecito. It was built inside Kensington Palace in 1992. And now, decades later, it's being used again. And that's where the tension sharpens, because not everyone in that family sees it the same way. Prince William grew up inside the consequences of that strategy, watched it unfold, watched the cost, and then spent his entire adult life doing the opposite: controlled, restrained, deliberately private. So when that same technique reappears, attached to his brother's family, it doesn't read as coincidence. It reads as confrontation, not over a photograph, but over a voice. Either way, his silence isn't neutral anymore. It's a choice. And behind that silence sits another possibility, one that hasn't been fully addressed yet. There have already been whispers of a program planned for next year. 30 years on from Diana's death. A project tied to her final chapter. And according to at least one royal biographer, these photographs may not have been spontaneous at all. They may have been captured with that project in mind. If that's true, then this isn't just about a post. It's about positioning, about laying visual groundwork for something much larger that hasn't even been announced yet. And suddenly, Charles Spencer's silence doesn't look like anger. It looks like calculation, because there are only two versions of this story. Either he gave permission and lost control of the outcome, or he didn't and someone walked past every boundary he built. But there's still one detail missing. One name. Who held the phone? No photographer identified. No staff member named, no friend, no Spencer, no source. 6 days, and not a single answer. And that's the part that doesn't happen in stories like this. Names always surface. Always. Which means this one hasn't finished yet. Because someone crossed water that was never meant to be crossed. Someone captured an image that was never meant to exist. And when that name finally comes out, it won't just explain the photograph. It will decide which version of this story was true all along.